marriage is a profound commitment that should not be entered into lightly. It carries significant emotional, legal, and social implications. Rushing into marriage without careful consideration can lead to unforeseen challenges and potential regrets. It is crucial to understand that marriage requires dedication, compromise, and continuous effort to maintain a healthy and fulfilling relationship. Taking the time to truly know and understand your partner, discussing important values and expectations, and addressing potential concerns or conflicts can help build a strong foundation. By approaching marriage with the seriousness and thoughtfulness it deserves, individuals can increase their chances of creating a lasting and meaningful partnership. Marriage is an obligation to serve and respectfully honor the person that you are committing yourself to. It should be approached with love, care, attentiveness, and fidelity. Marriage is the obligation to execute and keep the marital bond strong and not look at it as a burden that has to be carried. But it should be looked at as a moral act of notability as a person looks to fulfill a divine commitment with integrity and distinction. But, to take this life-changing responsibility seriously, one should question quite a few things before making the decision. This is where we want to challenge you with some questions about how you foresee yourself in marriage. As you observe these questions, think to yourself, have you asked or are you willing to ask yourself some of the questions or more before getting married? Here are a few questions for you to consider. How do you define marriage personally? What aspects of commitment, love, and care are important to you? In your view, does marriage symbolize unity, companionship, and the creation of a shared life? How do these elements contribute to the strength of a marriage? Can you elaborate on the significance of trust, respect, and shared values within a marriage? How do these factors contribute to a solid foundation? To what extent do you believe marriage provides a framework for shared rights and responsibilities, such as joint finances, decision-making, and inheritance rights? How do these aspects shape the dynamics of a marriage? Do you see marriage as primarily a social status or a personal commitment? How does it contribute to leaving a lasting legacy of lifelong dedication to one person? In your opinion, does marriage bring a sense of balance and completeness, or do you believe individuals can achieve fulfillment without being married? How do you prioritize the sacredness of marriage while also maintaining boundaries and protecting the union from external compromises? Is marriage a definitive commitment for you, or do you believe it's acceptable to end a marriage if personal happiness or fulfillment is lacking? From your perspective, which essential elements characterize a strong marriage, such as love, trust, commitment, faithfulness, growth, compassion, empathy, and support? If you consider getting married, what factors will convince you that you are ready? Are there specific qualities or conditions you would need to see in yourself or your partner before entertaining the idea of marriage? How long would you prefer to date someone before deciding to get married? Would you rush into marriage or take your time to fully know the person? In your approach to marriage, do you actively seek and pay attention to signs? Are you open to praying and asking God for signs to guide your decision-making? How committed are you to staying married? Are you open to the possibility of walking away, or do you firmly believe in lifelong commitment? How susceptible would you be to external influences disrupting your marriage? Would you allow family and friends to impact your devotion to your spouse? Would you consider marrying someone solely to spite someone who broke up with you? If you have been divorced, would you be open to remarrying, and if so, would you have any specific conditions or considerations? Have you ever considered marrying your best friend? If so, how long do you think you would need to be friends before taking that step? How important is it to share your deepest secrets and vulnerabilities with your potential spouse? Do you believe in addressing underlying issues and past trauma through independent counseling before getting married? Would you and your partner consider premarital counseling or seek counseling during your marriage? How willing are you to support your spouse or partner in their individual counseling? Would you consider marrying someone who already has children, and if so, how would you take their age into consideration? Do you involve your family and friends in your relationship, or if you are already married, do you allow them to be involved? How much influence do they have in your relationship? If you have witnessed a successful marriage, what wisdom can you take away from it and apply to your own marriage? Would you seek advice from couples who have been married longer than you have been alive? Would you marry someone to share your life with the one you love, or do you fear being alone and consider marriage as a way to avoid it? How prepared are you to handle unexpected changes within your marriage or relationship, such as a spouse's terminal illness, job loss, tragic events, or even extramarital affairs? Are you willing to offer forgiveness and support during difficult times? How do you prioritize quality time with your spouse? Are you open to having children together, or does that not fit into your life? How openly do you communicate about your sexual and intimate desires and expectations? How do you navigate spending time with each other's families? Do you discuss and address any potential issues that may arise? Do you prefer joint or separate bank accounts? How do you handle finances within the marriage? How do you balance career priorities between spouses? Do you share household responsibilities? Are you familiar with your spouse's or partner's love language? How do you express love and affection within the marriage? When it comes to managing debt as a married couple, what are your beliefs and practices? Do you view debt as an individual responsibility or as a shared burden within the marriage? How do you approach pre-existing debts incurred before marriage? Do you consider them as individual obligations or seek to address them jointly over time? In terms of joint debts, such as mortgages, loans, or shared credit cards, how do you envision the distribution of responsibility and the collaborative effort to repay them? Have you discussed financial goals and strategies for debt management with your spouse? How do you plan to work together to minimize and eventually eliminate any outstanding debts? Are you open to establishing a joint budget, tracking expenses, and jointly addressing financial decisions to ensure transparency and accountability in managing debt? How do you handle unforeseen financial challenges or emergencies that may arise during your marriage? Do you have contingency plans or emergency funds in place to deal with such situations? Looking ahead to the future, how do you see yourself and your spouse 10, 20, or 30 years from now? Can you envision shared milestones, experiences, and achievements that you hope to accomplish together? Have you discussed long-term goals and aspirations, such as career advancement, homeownership, starting a family, travel, or retirement? How do you plan to support each other in achieving these goals? Are there any specific areas of personal growth or skill development that you and your spouse aim to pursue over the coming years? How do you envision supporting each other's individual growth within the context of your marriage? Have you discussed your vision for a balanced and fulfilling lifestyle as a couple in the future? How do you plan to maintain a healthy work-life balance and nurture your relationship amidst evolving priorities and responsibilities? Have you considered the importance of ongoing communication and shared decision-making in sustaining a strong and harmonious relationship in the long run? How do you plan to address potential conflicts or changes in circumstances that may arise over time? Are you open to regularly revisiting and revising your long-term vision as a couple? How do you plan to adapt and adjust your goals and aspirations based on changing circumstances or new opportunities that may present themselves? How do you envision the emotional and spiritual connection between you and your spouse deepening and evolving over the next decade or more? Have you discussed ways to foster and nurture that connection as you navigate the journey of life together? Are there specific values or principles that you and your spouse hold dear, and how do you see those values influencing your decisions and actions as a couple in the future? How do you plan to ensure that your marriage remains a source of strength, love, and support, not just for yourselves but also for others within your family, social circles, or community, as you move forward in life. Remember, these questions are intended to encourage deeper exploration and meaningful conversations between you and your partner or spouse if you are already married, allowing you to gain a clearer understanding of each other's perspectives, aspirations, and expectations for your marriage and future together. If you are not married currently, take some time to consider these questions and many more in order for you to be at peace with your decision. We here at Motivate My Marriage want to encourage you that happy and fulfilling marriages do exist. But it does take work, commitment and dedication by both parties to honor the vow that couples have made to one another. In the comments section, please share your thoughts and opinions in response to some of the questions posed in this video. Thanks for watching Motivate My Marriage. Please be sure to like, subscribe and share.